Hey guys, hope you're doing well and good. Alright, today's video I want to share you content about uh, why cloud kitchen are failing. So there's a thousands of hundreds of lists for those, but I have just jotted down and bring it up to the top critical 10 factors, the reason why the business go down or most of the cloud kitchen or virtual kitchen fail. So let's get straight into the contents today. Right, so I have 10 points, so I will give you a kind of a short note, and I'll put these contents on YouTube, so whenever you want to go back and check it, you can always refer online for free, right? So let's get into the content. So here's 10 points. The first points that I have here is a thin margin. The second is kitchen space rental. The third is high commission on third-party delivery partners, and the fourth is rising competitions. Next one is lack of SOP, which is standard operating procedures. The next one is inconsistency in operation and poor financial planning, fancy menu and elaborate menu, lack of marketing, rising competitions, lack of guest interaction. Right, so I'm going to share kind of a short note next to that key points, so you can always refer and have a kind of a quick glance on that points in case if you need any clarifications or want to bring up your own idea. So I'll just leave you a kind of a short key points, but I will explain to you in a short description so that we can understand what are the main critical points that we have to consider when we are operating this kind of virtual kitchen business, right? So excuse me, let's get to the first one. Thin margin. So need to get supplies from source distributor, not from the retailer. So most of the thing what happened here is that even though you are a small business owner or a small business operator in the food industry, you always want to make sure that you try to engage and have a sort of a credit line, or not necessarily credit line in the initial stage, but then also you want to have a wholesaler price, because the margin between the wholesaler price and the retailer price is about like a 15 to 20, or sometimes it goes to 30% as well. So you want to cut down those commission rate in between the wholesaler and the retailer, and you want to take that into your account and make the profit out of a high margin for your product sales, right? So what we are trying to look here is that contact any local distributor. You can always go to a farmer market or a flea market where you can always procure and try to get your inventory every week or twice in a week, so that you can stock up things if it's possible for you guys. Again, this all depends on what kind of a product or inventory that you are using for your business. So if you're using some sort of a produce that doesn't have a long shelf life, probably you might want to just shop every week or twice in a week with your local farmer and try to get those not in the retail price. Tell them that you want to be a regular customer, but you don't want to pay in a regular price. Of course, they can always discount you at least 20 to 30%, so that you can earn that 30 to 40, 20 to 30% margin of in between the wholesaler or the distributor and the retailer price, right? So that's the way you can maximize your margin. Because if you try to purchase from the retail price, then you have to increase your product price. If you do not increase your product price, then the income, the profit margins is going to be very low for you. So you don't want to do that. So you want to maximize your profit margins. And for that, you need to approach the suppliers or the main producers and get at the least price, not in the retail price. So retail shopping, you should stop it. Get from the distributor, the wholesaler, or the farmer market, or the main source. All right, so let's go to the second point, kitchen space rental. So in a virtual kitchen, you don't want to operate the entire building by yourself, because let's say if you have a 20 to 30 menu as well, you don't want to elaborate a lot of like a kind of menu, because it's not necessary that you have to have, and you are selling those product a lot. If you're not selling all the product, just cut it down, because those are just taking a space, and also everything has its own shelf life. So you don't want to sell something which is going to be expiring in a short period of time. So think about it in the long term. So you want to invest on something that can sustain for a longer period of time and have a good shelf life. So for that, what you need to understand is that you probably may not be able to pay all your bills, or even though if you can pay it, then your overhead going to be too much, right? So what you want to do is that if you are in a virtual kitchen, try to invite 2 to 3 partners. My suggestion is always have at least 3 partners who are sharing those overhead with you, paying the bills of the utilities and also for your rental costs, right? So that's something that you can minimize as well. So for example, if you're paying $1,500 a month for your building by yourself, you can invite 3 of those guys and take $1,000 from each. Then you can pay the $1,500, but at the same time, if you can invite 3 people, so the total rental costs come up to like a $3,000, out of which you can just keep aside of the other rental money and then pay it whenever you can. You just have to sublease the whole property, but do not operate that by yourself, because the overhead is going to be very expensive, because it's not a dine-in restaurant. It's just a to-go, take out, and also it's a delivery system, so you don't have to necessarily occupy the whole space. And if you do that, so you can save a lot of money in your overhead, and also cut costs on your unnecessary expenses, right? So it is always about sharing. That's what it is. So like in shared kitchens, virtual kitchens are all about sharing. So you want to share with other partners as well. Always search your other partners before even you start your business. So this actually this key point is something that you want to survey, research based on your city, states, or country, and then once you have everything in place, start your business. Before that, you shouldn't even start a business at all, because if this points impact your business, then it's going to be hard to recover in a short period of time. It's going to take, and you might just go down, right? So to avoid that, just go through these points very carefully and try to work it out before even you start the business. All right, so let's move to the next point: high commissions of third-party delivery, right? So initially, when you start a business, you might want to just collaborate with third party like Uber Eats or Grubhub or anything like that, but then you don't want to run that long, because remember that these guys are going to take a 25 to 30% every month, plus marketing costs and these and that is always there. So the only way you want to cut costs, save those and cut those costs, expensive, basically the commission part, what you want to do is to build your own customer database. So for that, I have a video that the title would be Virtual Kitchen Marketing. So with that marketing model, you can always work out and build your own customer database, because the longer you rely on the third-party delivery, you're not going to be making any much profit on your business. So at the end of the day, what you want to do is that you have to think about it. How can you create your own marketing channel direct to the consumer and avoid those commission rate, and instead of that, do your own in-house delivery. Say for example, if there are 3 people who was working in the same kitchen, you can have 2 delivery guy, and this 2 delivery guy is delivering for those 3 partners, or these 3 partners from the same building, within the 3 to 5 miles, or say within your small demographic, right? So sometimes these third party model will just give you a kind of the details about like how big is your market. Do not rely on them, because remember, in a practical way, it would be, would you go 10 miles to just buy some food, or would you order it? Because if you do order, because it's so far, the delivery cost is going to go more, and then the convenience is going to be not that good, and also you will be paying more of the delivery fees as well, and there's going to be a delay. So you want to focus on the little area, which is going to be 3 to 5 mile radius that you can easily reach to your customers, right? So for those, you will have to have at least 2 delivery partner who can work for you and pay those guys. So instead of paying a 30% commissions to the company, you can pay those commission, half of it to your delivery driver. Are you losing anything? No, the guy is helpful for you. He will be able to market at the same time for your business as well, right? So the next one is rising competitions. Okay, need to improve in food quality and varieties of choice. So the competitions, you should not be worried about it. If you're worried about the competitions, then you're going to go down with your business, because here's what Peter Thiel as well says, that competitions is for loser. Because if you're not innovating anything about it, if you're not focusing on the quality of your product, then you're going to be very, very worried about it, because other people will overtake you. So remember this: if you want to sustain in the business, and if you want to get rid of these competitions, that the only thing would be focus on quality of your product and innovate your product all the time. Satisfy your customer with the best quality that you can provide. So if you can sustain, if you can maintain, if you can work with the quality and innovation of your product, you will always be above the competition. So never be worried about the competitions, because everything is in your hand. You don't have to be worried about it. For example, there are two burger stores or two pizza stores. If you do maintain the great quality, the other person necessarily may not be able to. Most of the time happens is that 10% of your competitor may be trying to take over you, but then you have to also understand that 90% is the margin that you can always, overlead or take over of those competitions. So the quality is the only reason why customer will come to you. Your next potential customer will be buying from you. But if you do not maintain the quality, it takes a very short time to shut down the business. So you want to focus on the quality part, and if you do so, you don't have to worry about the competition in the market, right? Okay, next one is lack of SOP, standard operations and procedures. So each chef has a different kind of a mentality, the way they do things, right? But then if in your business, if you're trying to build a brand, and if you want your brand to be your identity of your business or your product, whatever that you are servicing or providing as a product, right, you want to have a guidelines properly so that you can train all your staff or all your members. Because if one chef goes out of the business, or he has some emergency, he's not in that day and cannot come to work, then your quality will not be as what the chef used to do. So the best way to come over of this standard operating procedure would be to have a perfect memo, right? Each product that you have, design a memo for yourself. You can create with PowerPoint, Word, or even with the Photoshop, and have those memo in your kitchen, right? So whenever the next guy comes here, even though they're new trainer, new staff, they can just always have the reference, book and or the memo. Then they will use the same ingredients and the same temperatures for whatever the product or the food that you have prepared. So with having a proper memo, you will always be providing the quality food or say matching your standard of your food quality, right? So to maintain, to sustain an SOP would be to have your memo, because here's what it is. Like in a big chain industry, for example, like McDonald's and all those things, Pizza Hut or Domino's Pizza, they always have product memo, because that's what everybody has to follow, because that's what we are trying to sell it to the customer, because we don't want the taste to be different. Chances are there will be a difference in it, but it's not going to be that big major difference in the product, right? So creating a memo for each product is the key to sustain the quality of your product. Even though the chef are different, the people who cook the foods are different, they can always refer to the standard procedures of your product. All right, so the next one is inconsistency in operation. So what happened here is that people usually try to, because they are family members, they don't try to write down a kind of an agreement, right? You need to have a contract signed with each person working for you or working with you. The reason is because you can schedule them officially with them, legally with them. If you do so, then what happened here is that you will be able to have a proper staff for that season, that period, that day and time. But if you do not have the proper contract or verbal words and agreement, people will just keep on that day based on their convenience or whatever the emergency they have it. So the best way to maintain the operation hour or consistency in the business operation is to always have the official time schedule for your employee or for your staff or for your chef. And I would say that please do schedule things 2 weeks ahead of time. Don't go for tomorrow, don't go for the next day. No, you have to schedule. If somebody wants to take an off day, they have to ask you for 2 weeks prior to, so that in this 2 weeks, if they have to take an off, you can search for somebody who can replace that person, right? In that way, you are going to save a lot of time, and also will be able to avoid inconsistency in the business operation because of lack of staff, right? So that's what I would say. Create a proper contract and make it official, and also have a shift hour scheduled with your staff and members. Okay, the next one is poor financial planning. So here's one of the things that any new business, whenever they start, they just have a rough idea in their head. Never ever have the ideas or the accounting part in your head. You just have to make sure that it's written down somewhere in the book or in your computer or in your whatever the device that you can always refer it to, because that's what you want to know. If you do not know your number, then it's going to be a big problem for any business. So you have to understand what is the requirement, what is the monthly expenses, weekly expenses, daily expenses, what is the wages that you pay out, what are the percentage that you are paying towards your commissions and all those because you're using a delivery partners or third-party delivery partners, and the tax and all those things. You have to have those kind of a number with you. Without having those number with you, if you try to just go ahead, then you might well just hit a wall very badly. So most of the people, they go out of the business because not of the lack of the cash, but not because of the lack of the money. It's just because of the inappropriate or lack of a financial planning. That's the reason why many people goes out of the business. So if you have your financial planning properly, you understand the cost and the overhead down the line, then you will be able to graft these things properly. Because sometimes, here's what the thing is, that during a holiday season, your business will go up, but at that point of time, if you do not have a staff, right, then you're going to lose a lot of things on a sales. But let's say during the summertime, when your business goes slow, you probably may overstaff it, so you still have to pay the staff, but you actually are not making that money because there's no sales during that season. So based on the season and the time of your business, you want to understand all those, where you're going to be putting more money or less money. So if you have to understand all those things clearly, write down your numbers and dig your number properly. Once you know and have the number with you, you are smooth and you are good to go with your business. All right. And the next one is fancy menu and elaborate menu. So what this means is that sometimes people try to create a fancy menu, very expensive items in the food, right? But then the demographics does not permit you to that, because let's say, for example, you have a food that costs about like a $30 per plate, but then the community that where you are trying to serve your food, their income is about like, let's say, 35,000 a year. Probably that person is going to shop at least or buy once in a month. But what we are looking here is frequent buyers, right? In this business, we need frequent buyers. So you want to study the demographic of your locations properly. You want to see, based on your menu price, it should fit in the income level of those people living in your community or in that locations within 3 to 5 miles. So if you're trying to go for a high price, go with the people who can pay a high price, and you can search that in Google as well, and get the data with you, so that you can sell high price to the high income people, low price to the lower income people. But like I said, never compromise on the quality of your product. There is a lot of product that you can sell to the low income and high income. So don't try to sell a high product to a low income, and also here we have the elaborate menu, like I have already explained to you in the previous points. Do not expand to have a lot of menu on your list in your kitchen, because here's the thing, that if you try to have a lot of menu, you will need all those products in your inventory, but some of the product that you have has a shelf life, and if you are not selling those fast, you're not making that money out of it. So let's say, for example, you have a $100 worth of a product lying down in your inventory, which is ready to sell any point of time. But if that is not moving fast, that means that product is not making that much money, right? So you want to understand that you want to cut off those unnecessary product, but focus on the product that is moving fast, right? So cut down long menu. If you have a 30 menu, look at around, figure it out, 70 to 75% what product are selling the most. Work on those products, make it a higher quality, so that you have more customers, more buyers, and people love your food. And cut off those things, those 25%, which is not moving at all, which are moving very slowly. And that way you will be able to control your inventory, control your costs, and you will have a low disposable inventory, because sometimes when it's waste, it's expired, you have to toss it away, and that does not make any money. So control your menu very well, and you have to also understand your menu engineering, which is something that I will share into one of my training program. But if you'd like to know a little bit about this, please feel free to share or ask me questions in the comment sections. I will be glad to answer your any questions that you have anytime. Right, so let's move to the next one: lack of marketing. So many businesses have started with a mindset that they have this good quality product, they can sell it. But here's the thing: who's gonna be the one who will be announcing those products on behalf of you? Because you're busy in your business, you have to focus the business, as well as if you are like a one-man army, you have to cook all the food, but then you don't really have a time to market and communicate with or interact with your customer. So your marketing channels has to be very strong, and for those you can use digital marketing, you have to take advantage of this technology. If you cannot, then you're out in business, because this is the most efficient time, I would rather say, because back in the days, 10 before Google's and all those things, social media started, we used to go and deliver, hand out the flyers, the brochures, and all those things, right, and call people, right? That was a kind of a hard labor work. But now you have a digital platform where you can communicate instantly. Just take a picture, take a little 15 to 30 to 60-second videos, post it and share a link on your bio on your Instagram and say, hey, this is a new product which we have created. If you'd like to, please order it. Let them order it directly from the bio sections where you put your website address. Just link it with the order page, and they will be able to order directly from you, right? So take the advantage of it. There will be a lot of gurus or experts who would say, hey, I will be able to market your product, but at the end I don't understand, why am I marketing here? Because I want to make more money out of my marketing, right? So here's what I always calculated: if I'm putting $1 and you have to make at least $3 to $5, so look for something or someone else who can maximize your ROI, right? So that's your investment. So let's say if somebody is asking you, for example, like $100 a monthly fees, look at it. If they can bring in a sales to $300 to $500 by paying him $100, get them. But if you cannot, they just promise the word, they can just throw the word, they just good for years. Do not do that, because you want to save as much as money in your marketing. Because what are you going to do if you have a lot of followers and zero sales? What's the use of that, right? You want to have a less amount of people, the real people who are going to buy your product. So if you do have those kind of a product, you will be able to remarket to your customers. That is the reason why you want to use your digital platform very well. The best way to communicate about a product, to send a message instantly every now and then, is just to be engaged on a social media. You can use Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or Snapchat, TikToks. There's a lot of platforms out there. Just use those and try to maximize your reach to your potential customer. Don't go for somebody who lives in 10 or 20 miles. Just go within a local network. Try to communicate as much as you can through your social media and engage people, so they will love your interaction. And of course, if they do so, they're gonna be your next customer. All right, so here's the last point for today: a lack of guest interaction. So why do we want to interact with your customer? Why do we want to meet people, right? There is no reason why we have to, but there is only a few reasons. One is because we want to hear how they think about our product. Do they like the product, and do they want to give us a feedback? Do you think that because of their feedback, we can provide something here and there with the product, right? If let's say there are 10 people who are your buyers, right? And if you cannot fulfill their demands, they're gonna move out, right? They're gonna go somewhere else. So you're gonna lose your customer, because your business is a fixed establishment. So which means that you cannot move around like a food truck, right? So what you have to do is, if you're in a fixed place, you want to interact with those demographic 3 to 5 miles customer, fulfill their demands, right? And that's what we are looking for here. So the purpose of interaction with the customer is to get the feedback, to make sure that we match their requirements, their needs, their their taste and their price and all those things, right? So our focus has to be, how can I fulfill your requirements or your demands? And that is the only purpose, to interact. But if you can, for example, whenever you have a new product, give them for a free sample, or give them a discount on the new product, or let them share with their friends, bring their new friends and give some kind of an offer to them. In that, ask them for a feedback on how do they think about your product. If they do share, about like a 70% of the people share a good feedback, give you a 5-star, go ahead with that product. If they are giving you like a 2.5, 3 star on that product, you should not even put that in your menu, because nobody in your community likes that food. So which basically means that it's going to be a waste of items. It's going to be a waste item. You're not going to sell it. So what's the purpose of using that in your menu, right? Or keeping that in your menu? So what you want to focus is that what products do my customer wants, and list that product. And if there is no demand for that product, just cut out of that from the menu, right? Okay, guys, with all these things, I hope you have a kind of a clear idea about it. But if you do have questions, if you'd like to ask, or if you'd like to suggest that if I think that I have missed, if you think that I have missed something, just feel free to share me your ideas, because I like it, right? I want to answer as much as I can, because my belief, or say my vision, my goal in sharing you this content is to make sure that you are using the real world, a practical value and an experience and a knowledge, right? So with that, you grow, right? My whole goal is to let you grow, make you money, right? Make your business successful. And I want to provide the value information as much as I can, and also I want to share you the resource that you can always refer to it. So if you have any questions, comments, please do feel free to share me in the comment section. And also, if you are into virtual kitchen, or if you have a restaurant, if you'd like to know more about how can you expand your business, please join me on Virtual Kitchen Resource. That's a Facebook group, and you can also follow the account on Instagram as well. So with that, I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day, guys.